Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. What I have here for you today is the Gerber Suspension-NXT. Not sure what that NXT stands for, but I'm going to take a guess that maybe the N stands for new, because this did just come out, relatively speaking. Here's the old suspension. Let me let you take a look at it if you remember it. I reviewed this one a long time ago and I had a lot of criticisms about it. So let's see if they sort of fixed some of the things that I had a heartache with, and see if they fixed other issues too. Now this is more of like a first look than a review, because I didn't go out and like test this, obviously, because it's still in the package. I paid about $35 for it, and if you decide you'd like to get one, please feel free to use the link I provided in the description box below. It doesn't cost you any more money, but it helps my channel so I can keep on bringing you these videos if you like what I'm doing here. Well, again, what I usually do is show you the package, so I'll show you my package. And you can see they have the tools, and over here they state they have 15 tools, and usually they're kind of free and wild with that number. We'll see how many actual tools there are. We'll go through them. This opens like a butterfly. It doesn't open like the slidey kind, because Gerber has two types: the kind that butterfly open, and then they have the kind that slide open. Spring loaded. Tools lock, which is nice. All the tools are opened outboard, so you don't have to unfold this to get to it. And there is a pocket clip, so you don't have to use, you know, one of these guys. And I'll tell you what, a lot of them like to use these belt, you know, what do you call them? Holsters with Velcro. And boy, do I hate Velcro. Very few have buttons. Alright, on the back, I'll let you freeze if you want to see what they're listing as the tools. And there's the tool itself. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to give us some reading material here. By the way, this is made in China. A lot of the lower end stuff by Gerber is made in China, so it should be expected since it's $35. And by the way, in case you didn't know, Gerber is owned by Fiskars, or maybe it's the other way around, who knows. So this just looks like a bunch of warnings, and they do it in every single language. And we have the tool itself, so let me get some first impressions. Wow, it does feel lighter than you would expect, and that's probably because they really did a lot of skeletization here. It's only 6.7 ounces, so very, very light. Another first impression is that these corners here, like if I'm gripping really, really hard, it is digging a little bit. So if you're going to use these a lot, you might start feeling it. But multi-tools like this are not going to stand up to everyday hard use. I guarantee it. For $35, it's just not going to happen. Oh, I noticed something here. Let me do that. That's a potential problem. Why is that happening? Well, there might be time for a revision. They might need to... That could be a hazard, actually, if you got a knife. But, you know, I mean, when you use your tool, you're not going to slam it. You shouldn't be slamming it, but still, retention should be a little better. I have some other multi-tools here. Like, here's actually a cheaper one. Let's do that, because they all open from the outside. Well, see, the spring load, well, you can see it flop and come back. So this one has a stronger retention, so we might have a little bit of an issue with retention. Other ergonomic things I've noticed right out of the box is, and I always look for this with multi-tools, is how close things are when you close them. For example, I'll bring in another tool, another competitor. This is the Leatherman Wingman, and I'd say this is a good comparison because I think this tool is meant to compete with the Leatherman Wingman, even though these things, you know, this used to be 35 bucks. Even $25 I've seen it. Now, you know, I was really surprised. I went on Amazon, all of a sudden it's $50. When did it get to be $50? One of the things you'll notice, is, see this? It can actually bite down and pinch if you're not careful right there. So that's one thing I always look at with multi-tools, because if you're choking up on it, you don't have to worry about it biting your skin. See? Which is good if you have those fat meaty hands and fat that sort of is bulging out. You don't have to worry about it with this. Oh, you do have to worry about getting your finger there, but that's because I'm an idiot. Now, I know I'm talking a long time, but that's sort of the way I do videos. So, you know, I'm not like an everyday reviewer of things. I sort of like to take a different approach. Now, like I said, this is sort of the second edition of the suspension, and I do have the original one right here, so I can sort of see them side by side. And one of the things that they did was they made it where it's less chunky and a lot less wasted space inside, I noticed, and a lot lighter. So you could see how they slimmed it down a bit. Let me go ahead and zoom in just a bit. And it's definitely a little bit skinnier. And see these tools, how close they are now? Where one of my criticisms was how much space they wasted, where they could have made it slimmer on the old version, so it's chunky, because they have big giant spacers and all this air gap. And I sort of praised Leatherman and how nice and close tolerance everything is, nice and close. So they fixed that. I like it. Another criticism I had, the old suspension, look how wide that handle is. Now, if you have small hands, when this thing is open, even, you know, I have medium to large hands, and look how wide that is when you're going to grab your nut. You know, you got to choke up on it just to get it started, and then pull or use two hands because it opened up too wide. That's ridiculous. I can't believe no one else complained about that, but when you use it a lot, you notice that. Now, the new one, I notice you could see some differences, because when you close them, this guy closes up a lot more. You see that? And it opens up a little bit less. See? So I noticed that it's a lot easier to grab it and close down on your nut. So that's pretty good. And wow, it's just so much lighter. It really is a big difference. The heads look pretty similar. And they're both spring-loaded. Alright, so now that I've gone on and on and on and haven't even started reviewing the tools, we'll go ahead and do that. I do like that they have torque screw construction here, so that would make it easier to disassemble if you have a problem, maybe to clean it or something like that. Man, it's just so light. It really is surprising. All the tools you could get to from the outside, which is nice, and they are, well, these are nice and tight. They have a little bit of wasted gap there. But we'll go ahead and start going through the tools. First thing we have is a Phillips or Cross screwdriver, and it's full 3D. It's not one of them flat ones. So that's pretty nice. That's a nice Phillips screwdriver. It even tells you what it is. That's not a first aid symbol. And it locks pretty good. Nice. And to unlock these tools, you see these two tabs. You sort of pull back on these. So every tool in here locks, which is kind of nice. And another thing I like is with all these other tools, you see this right here? You could like grab it with your finger. It's like a nail nick where you could sort of pull an individual tool out like that. You know, back in the old days, like here's from 25 years ago, one of Gerber's first multi-tools, right? If you wanted to get a tool out, there was no way to grip these things. You had to just pull them all out, and sometimes all these tools would clump, which means you take one and it would pull all the other ones to get them out, and none of them were locking. You know, so it was kind of hard. It was kind of difficult to get some of these tools out sometimes. So they've learned a lot in 25 years, and they learned how to lock the tools. They learned how to make the tools easily accessible. So you're living in good times, the golden age of multi-tools. Here you have a aw. No, really, it's an aw. And again, it locks. So what's the aw for? Well, you know, you can use it for things like, let's say you're losing weight, you're doing good for your diet that you started at the beginning of the year, right? And you need to make a new hole in that belt because you're getting skinny. You could use that aw to aw out a hole out of your belt. So what else do we have? Let's see. And we got ourselves a large flathead screwdriver, and we have a file. Does that file work? Yeah. It's not the greatest. I wouldn't want to do a lot of filing with it. It's not very aggressive or well done. So I'm not very impressed with there. You have a flathead screwdriver. Kind of rough. And here you got a ruler. I don't know how useful, you know, a 1-inch ruler is, or 1.5. You can see numbers there. I don't know how useful that is. I'd rather them put a more aggressive file on the other side instead of fooling around with a ruler that long. You know, make one side sort of half texture and then full texture where it's more aggressive. Something like that would be a lot more useful. But of course, they probably had to charge an extra $1, you know, some ridiculous amount of money saving. Whatever. Here is the scissors. And we can fold this back. And, wow, there's a lot of tension on there. And you can see there's a lot of oil in there, too. I'm not sure if you could see. There we go. A lot of oil. Let me grab a piece of paper. See how good this works. Hey, you're not gonna. Actually, you know, it's shaped in such a way that it's actually pretty ergonomical. It feels good, even though you're not getting far very long. And it's kind of hard to push cut like you can with some scissors. So you really are going to have to do the scissor motion to get cutting. You can't just, like, some scissors are so strong you could sort of slide through. You can't do it with these. So that works kind of nice, but not special in any way. Next tool. Again, I like how you could pull each individual tool out. That's really nice. So you have 3 tools here. They're counting this as 3. You have your bottle opener or beer opener. You have a can opener, and the edge is on the outside, pointing out, so as you're sort of rocking around your can, you're going forward, not backwards, if you know what I mean. If you ever use one of these, most people don't even ever mess with it. You got a little flathead screwdriver right there. Very nice. What else we got? Next tool, you get another screwdriver, flathead, or it could be considered a pry bar, opener. Like if you're opening paint, it's probably useful because this one is a pretty beefy one. And you have a wire stripper right there. You can grab the wire, push it in there, and strip the noodle off it. I forgot the knife. Where is the knife? There it is. Can't believe I forgot the knife. So the knife, you can't, it's very hard. It's possible to one-hand it, But you really have to use second hand. So two-handed for the knife. A little bit of play there, but that should be expected with a lot of multi-tools. Combo blade, so you have some serrations and you have your flat edge. And we can see how sharp it is out of the box. I have some paper here. Okay, well, it's very, very sharp. I'm push cutting there. So that's impressive. Let's see, luckily I'm a hairy guy. We could see if we could shave with it. Yeah, we could shave there. Now everybody at work's going to say, what's going on with your hand? You're missing some hair there. What's going on? Locks up pretty good. Oh, there's a number there. I don't know what kind of steel they're using. It doesn't say. They probably count the head as 3 tools because you got your Needlenose pliers, your bigger pliers, and your wire cutters. You know, right in there. So they count like something like that as 3 tools, which is I always find ridiculous. But that's really all the tools. And of course we have our clip right there. It doesn't feel particularly strong. Like if you were standing on your head, this could flip out. The Wingman definitely has a much stronger clip. This one feels kind of weak. By the way, the blade is 2 1/4 inches long. And again, you got your fine and serrated edge. It looks like a slight bit of a drop point. Kind of hard to tell. There is a little bit of a drop. So as I stated before, the weight is a very light 6.7 ounces. Closed to hole tool is 4 1/4 inches. Open length is 6 1/4 inches. And that really covers everything. There is a lanyard hole right here in this little plastic piece. So if you want to put it in your pocket and have a lanyard sticking out with maybe a monkey fist or something like that, you could do that. I got some plastic here. So I guess that sort of helps with ergonomics a little bit. So if you're really biting down on your nut or whatever and you're pushing here, at least you got this plastic to sort of soften the edge. Not bad. $35. It's I'd say that puts it on par. I think personally the Leatherman Wingman is a better tool. Very similar tool set, almost exactly the same, maybe one difference or whatever, but it's smaller, although heavier, but it's definitely made better, built better. You could just feel the quality, the difference in the tools. But they put this up to $50. You know, I don't know what's going on and why it got that expensive, so I put them on par at that point. Now if they cost the same price, I would tell you just go get the Leatherman. But the price difference. Now there is another thing you could look at, sort of not one of the major brands or its popular brands, but I reviewed this a long time ago, and it's the Ganzo. This one is the 302B. B is black. They do have a silver edition, and this thing has even more tools, and it's only $40. And my only criticism with this is actually the handle doesn't open up as wide as the suspension, so they sort of got that fixed. But I don't like when they put the springy thing on the outside, although it doesn't affect it in any way. I just would rather in here. But you know, if it breaks, like if your spring-loaded pliers broke in here, you're done. If your spring breaks with it out here, it's actually replaceable. You can get another spring in there. It has changing blades. Your wire cutter, you can change those blades if you had to, and it has far more tools, and it even has a whole socket set that you could attach to that comes with it. So you get all kinds of tools in this guy. and the knife is way better. And this is $40. So actually, if I were considering all three of these, I'd actually go with the Ganzo. And the Ganzo again is $40. Wingman is $50. And of course this is cheaper at $35. Now this is the lightest weight, so if weight is extremely important, then that might be another consideration. So I'm not going to like recommend one over the other. It all depends on you, how much money you have, what you're looking for. But they have some what I would consider moderate issues, almost bordering on serious, with things like tools, you know, no proper retention there. That is a potential issue. I don't know. So they might need to look at that. But $35. I provided links in the description box below to all three of these. So, you know, if you're interested in any of them, please feel free to utilize those, and maybe look at some other ones if you want. It helps out my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Now while you're here, while we're doing multi-tool talk, actually I meant to have this guy in the frame when I was showing, considering the three. This guy I had in the Navy. This is, you know, I had bought this at the exchange 25-30 years ago. And this is what I used when I was stationed on board the Eisenhower, which is a carrier. And I used to have this on my side all the time. And I used to constantly, oops, I would always be flicking it, because it would pop right out. It's pretty cool. I'm killing my thing there. But it's kind of nice that it's so compact, so small, but it didn't have a clip, so you had to wear it on your belt. But so small, although so inconvenient. It's so hard to get all the tools out. Let me see. The knife was a good size too. Look at that. I wish they would go back to at least have these kind of knives, you know what I mean? Nice large plain edge. I'm not a big serration kind of fan, which by the way, just going back to the Gerber here, if you have that plain edge, but if you want to do serrations, like, because serrations are good for certain types of ropes and everything, you have a fully serrated blade right there. Kind of nice, because you got a lot more tools on this one. So, and just to show you, it comes with this giant case, and in that case you have an entire socket set. Not a socket set, but you know, a bit set, because it's a bit driver. So pretty cool. Check this guy out. I really like it. Alright, so that is my honest review of the Gerber Suspension-NXT that I bought with my own money. And I'm not even highly recommending it. I'm only recommending it if it's all the money you got. And it's definitely not heavy use, and there is a potential hazard with it because the retention is poor on those tools. Although once you have them out, they do lock, which is fine. And you know, to be perfectly honest, if you're not, when you use the pliers, you're not slamming it closed, because I know I'll get criticized for even bringing that up. But for you multi-tool fanatics that like to play with your tools in dark rooms, and you're just sitting there, you know, one day, you know, just sort of because you're busy, you got to use your hands, and you're just doing this, next thing you know, the blade's out, and it'll close on the meat of your hand or something like that. So I'm warning you that, you know, it could be a hazard. And one thing I'm very impressed with is how light this tool is for how many tools that it has in there. It's kind of neat. So they need to refine this. Hopefully they'll get it straightened up here soon. But use links below. I appreciate it. You know, and also don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell if you want an alert whenever I post a video. Hopefully I'll get one out every now and then. Now I'm back in the swing of things. I'm starting to feel it. I liked how you all commented on my first couple of videos. You're making me feel welcome me back nice into the YouTube community, so I really do appreciate it. Alright, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really do appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and especially you. And I hope you have a great day or evening. Take care. Bye.